Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Boys in Motion podcast. We're your hosts, Andrew, Brian, and Tyler, here to break down tips and strategies you need to excel in endurance sports. This is episode number 14, and we're here today diving into the topic that I think everyone can relate to, tricking yourself into loving exercise. If you've ever wondered how to make working out feel like less of a chore and more like something that you actually look forward to, this episode's for you. Listen up.
Yeah, I'm super excited to dive into this week's episode because let's face it, loving exercise is not always easy. Whether you're a newbie or a seasoned athlete, we all have those days where we need just a little bit of extra motivation and some clever mental tricks to get us going. And trust me, this is a game changer for building consistency.
Yeah, man. Honestly, I remember back when I used to dread going out for long runs. I'd pull every excuse in the book, but then one day I tricked myself into just promising that I'd go out for a short run, just for 10 minutes to kind of one location, and I would do that day in, day out, as many times as I could in a week. And spoiler alert, I ended up building up my consistency, building up my fitness, and then craving going out for runs for an hour or more. So it's amazing what a little bit of mental gymnastics can do.
Yeah, so this episode is going to be a little bit different. We're not just going to be ramming information down your throats. We're just going to kind of go round table and talk about some of the tips and tricks that we like to use when our motivation's a little low. Because even for us, when we love doing it every day, there's still definitely days where motivation is lower, and we like to use some of these tips and tricks to increase motivation and just make it a little bit easier to get out the door. And I can go first. And I know a lot of people are going to love this one. One of the things is that I love doing sometimes, especially for me mentally, going for a super hard marathon pace, VO2 max workout. It can be mentally super tough. And just thinking about going at those paces for those distances can be super daunting. So sometimes, just sometimes, when the moment is right, I like rewarding myself. You set of like, if I hit this pace for the workout, then for me, I love going for a nice sweet treat or maybe a bite to eat after a workout, something nice that one of my favorite places. Or another way you can go about this is if you are in the phase of trying to build that consistency, maybe you set up a milestone reward for yourself of, I'm just going to use the gear I have today. I have a pair of cross training shoes that I'm going to run in. If I can consistently over the next 3 months go for 50 runs, let's say, hypothetical number, I'm going to buy myself a nice pair of daily trainers as a nice reward for being consistent with this activity that I like doing. So it's nice to celebrate those small wins, whether it's a workout, a streak or something, and that can really help you keep going and keep that goal moving along.
I like that. I think I'm up for some new shoes, let me tell you. I'll get on my 150th kilometer this month, and I think I'm going to hit them up.
Yeah, you mentioned new shoes and Tyler is in. But no, I think this is a big key in motivation around the table. Little micro rewards for daily things, or even larger rewards for hitting those activities, hitting those consistency goals is huge. I know for myself personally, gear is a huge motivator, like you mentioned, whether it's running or cycling. It's nice to look forward to after 100K, maybe getting yourself a sweet treat at the end of a bike as well.
Oh, I'm all in for that. Every single weekend, it's time for a reward. Let me just tell you. I go like clockwork now. Dairy Queen knows my name. Let me just say, I love the Dairy Queen rewards after either long rides or runs. It's just like something out of this world. And it tastes even better after you work hard for it.
Tell us, what is your order? What's your go-to at Dairy Queen?
Oh, I'm a spin of the wheel kind of guy on the blizzards. I just spin the wheel and I just pick a different blizzard every single time. I have some different couple favorites like the Reese's or some chocolate sort of medley, but I just spin the wheel and pick a random one.
Hear that, Dairy Queen? Sponsor this man. He's got, what, 4 bottle cages, 4 blizzards just sucking up during an Ironman? Get
Oh,
that dairy into this man.
that'd be some nice carbs. Forget the Morton gels. Just go for the carbs on the with the Dairy Queen. I like that.
You could get like a got milk kind of cycling jersey too.
But it's
Pretty
just
nice.
DQ. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. Andrew, what about yourself? Do you have any memorable rewards that you've given yourself throughout the years, or even a nice treat that you like after a tough workout?
For me, I would say race shoes is definitely something that I have been, where before I would just kind of use daily trainers for my races and that would be fine. But I'm at a point where I am been very consistent and basically doing 2, sometimes 3 when I'm feeling a little crazy marathon blocks in a year. So that reward of getting excited and like trying to look for deals, but like picking out what race shoe I want to get for the next block, that is definitely something that I don't really think twice about because it like is that extra motivation of like I'm putting in so many weeks of work. You know, it is a decent cost, but I get the full potential of all that work I put in. So I would say that's the big one for me.
I like
And
that logic.
stay tuned for the reveal for this year's race shoe.
I
It's
was gonna say, can we get a reveal for the waterfront? I knew you
I'm
got new ones.
I do. I got to keep it a little close to the chest for maybe one more week.
Come on, you're making the listeners wait.
Yeah, gear's a nice one. I've done sort of something similar with cycling is every 1,000 kilometers that I ride, I can get a little upgrade, even if it's something as small as a pair of socks or like a second helmet in a different color. I've been pretty consistent and every 1,000 kilometers I'll get a small little treat and upgrade to my kit. It just motivates me to go out and ride. But there's the treat during a ride is often just a nice coffee. Really, really good motivator for the intro workout.
Yeah, I love a good coffee. And whether cycling or running, especially if I'm doing it in a new neighborhood, going to as I am kind of close to the end of my run and I see a spot that looks really good, I love just popping in, grabbing an Americano, and whatever baked good is looking good that day, there's nothing better.
Yeah, and that's really nice. Even bigger treat when they're sponsored. And I want to give a shout out to Mike and Kennedy. They weren't able to join us on a ride, but they treated Mark, Adam, and I to some baked goods and coffee at RPM Bakehouse in Jordan Station when we were out for a ride 2 weeks ago, and it was magnificent. So coffee is great, and when it's sponsored coffee, even better.
Even better. And you can't go wrong with a good old big nasty here and there. So that we always love stopping at the Carp Cafe there and getting a big nasty.
For sure. So something else that really motivates me is actually sharing your fitness goals with other people in your network, other people online, or even committing to something here on the podcast. Definitely whips you into shape and motivates you to get those workouts in. So, kind of hacking your fitness and motivating yourself with social pressure that you put on yourself is a great one. Having people involved in that process also kind of gives you a little bit more support and accountability. So, posting that you've committed to a race, actually posting your workouts on social media or Strava helps because you know the data from that ride, the data from that run is going to be broadcasted. It makes sure that you're held accountable to, well, even if you're in a zone 2, actually sticking to zone 2 and keeping that heart rate in check. Or if you know you're going to be pushing the limit, well, maybe it's time you PR on a shorter interval because you want to hit those high intensity workouts. So yeah, there's nothing like people thinking you're a slacker and the fear of people thinking you're a slacker to keep you moving and get that button gear.
I like that. I also deal with that a lot. And another easy way to do it too is just by like talking to people. Oh, I got a big workout this weekend. I'm so excited. I got something big coming on Saturday. Check it. Like, can't wait to show it to everybody. And then people are, well, even if people aren't even watching, you think people are waiting for you to complete that workout, so you're going to go out there and finish it and do good. You put that social pressure on yourself, and you get that completed, and it feels great.
Yeah, you're very good at putting that social pressure on yourself. I've noticed that. And hey, you hit those workouts and you're a freak. So it seems to work.
I love staying freaky.
Yeah, and even the last episode, actually, Andrew put some social pressure on all our listeners when he told them to go out and do a VO2 max workout.
Exactly.
So, having a little bit of competition is fun, challenging people is fun, and it's important that you also find your Strava tribe, right? This goes hand in hand. Having a group of like-minded athletes can really push you to train harder while keeping things fun.
BIM, baby. Keep it BIM.
Yeah, and with that pressure, it works both ways. So you're telling your goals, that adds accountability to reach those goals. But who knows? You could be talking about those goals. Someone could be, thinking about things and be like, oh, that's a cool idea. So it's also a great way to get people to join you to do things. I mean, really, the BIM bike ride, that's really how that started. We were talking about things, and then we have three of us, and all of a sudden next year we have about 10 riders. So talk about the things with your friends, with your networks, and that's how you just get more people moving.
Moving and grooving, baby. It's a good way to socialize as well.
Yeah, it's true. There's nothing better than seeing somebody that you used to know from the past who's now on Strava posting big workouts, that sort of thing. I saw an old guy from high school, Jansen, followed me on Strava. He's pumping out some triathlon training, and I think he's done a couple triathlons. So just super motivating to know some people who weren't into endurance sports who are diving right in, and it just makes you want to push a little bit further. That buddy system, that shared process is so nice.
Very important. I got a good one. Gamifying your workouts. You know me, I can't stay focused for very long, as you can probably tell. Maybe another reason why I joined triathlon is I can't stay with one sport during a week. Like, that would be just crazy to me. But gamifying your workouts, you pretend you're in a video game. You pretend you're trying to beat the final boss, or you're trying to get to this next level. An easy way to do that, to get involved into that too, is, with the we started more consistently last year with the riding. So it's like a video game, really. You're cycling with friends, and you go to do races virtually, and it's a very fun way to interact with people and also get your workouts in. They do a good job too of like leveling you up, giving you coins. You could buy a new bike, stuff like that. So it's that keeps me motivated for sure.
Yeah, for sure. On the winter bike season is very, very gamified already, just on whichever software you end up using for that bike. On the runs, I find there is something similar, which is like all of the training heart rate zones is like tracking your data in a way where you're trying to hit a goal of being in zone 2 for 95% of a workout, that sort of stuff gamifies the workout a little bit, because you're not just focused on one leg in front of the other, but you're focused on some of the data that you might be seeing feed in as well. Same thing with wattage on a bike when you're out there in the summertime.
Oh yeah, I'll be doing laps around a neighborhood, just trying to keep my watts up, like keep the average wattage up to like over a certain round number, or even like you were mentioning, heart rate or pace on the run. Just like, oh, I got a couple minutes left, and my average pace is like 5:31 per kilometer. I got to get that down to 5:30, and it just like gamify with the data that you have in front of you too is a fun way to do it.
Yeah, and I know you two specifically, you love the Strava segments. I see you guys going out smashing those Strava segments. So that's also a fun way. Generally, they're pretty short, so it's like quick, hard bursts. So it's going to be hard, especially depending where you live, but it's not going to be too taxing on your body because they are so short, half a kilometer, quarter kilometer, something like that. But it is just, you can go do a little zone 2 loop, and then you have that small little section, and just that excitement of seeing that crown at the end. Well, hopefully that crown is pretty exciting. So yeah, I know I went for one recently, and it was a segment in Niagara Falls that I had, and then someone took it from me, and I just went out for like a tempo and I took it back, and I wasn't trying to, but you get it, and it's like, oh, it's gamified. It feels good.
And you're already the king of Welland, so what about adding another crown to that, right? So
Yep, I know. Just gotta all around the Niagara region, just scooping up them crowns.
Yeah, keep your hands off my crowns though. There's
Fenwick, I'm
nothing.
coming for you.
Uh-oh, I'm in trouble. There's nothing better than going out on a run or a ride and you didn't actually go for a segment. It was just your regular workout and you end up like leaderboarding or that sort of thing. That positive reinforcement that, you know, your some of the fastest known times are on that segment is, yeah, it's rewarding for sure. And it's, if you're just beginning in the sport, to go out and like target a segment is a great challenge as well.
yeah, it's fun. It's a lot of fun.
All right, and next, and this one I really like, and I actually did super recently on just a day that I wasn't feeling super motivated. I was having a little trouble getting out the door. The legs were super tired, and it was just for a general aerobic run, so nothing crazy, but is doing more adventure workouts. And this often is changing your scenery. So for me, it was I recently moved, so I'm exploring new routes, but this time I wanted to explore the Don Valley. So I ran to the Don Valley, did a little bit of trail running. So I was in the ravine doing a little trail running, getting a little bit of vertical, which is kind of crazy for a flatlander like me. And then there was a whole section of the trail that was cut off or closed. So then I got spun around, and then I just told myself I I mean, I was in a section that I'm not super familiar with, so I was just going to go with traffic lights. So I went based on running. If it was green, I'd keep going, and if it was red, I would turn left or right in the kind of general direction I needed to go. And I ended up coming to a rail trail in York, and just running along that rail trail. It was something that I had heard of, but didn't exactly know where it was, and I ended up on it. It was great. It actually felt like I wasn't in Toronto anymore, and I just had a great run, just being kind of exploring that new trail, not looking at my watch at all, and just kind of enjoying exploring new routes, and doing a little bit of trail, a little bit of road running. It was a lot of fun.
It sounds like a lot of fun. Great idea. And sometimes getting lost, you find, like you said, new things, and it gives you that fun and that motivation back into something that was just going to be an easy just meander around your same old neighborhoods.
Yeah, and I think this is true when you're in your own home city, but it's also true when you're on vacation. There's nothing more memorable than a workout or an adventure that you go on when you're on vacation. Like if you're out in nature and you bag a massive hike, that's some great zone 2 work and you connect with nature that way. Running around a new city, as long as it's safe, is something that really gets you in tune with the feeling of that city. I remember running around Mexico City and the difference between that and San Francisco, for example. Like those are really, really memorable experiences. And it's not a view that you would ever get, just taking public transit or a car through these cities. So running while you're on vacation is phenomenal. And I also think building vacations that are specifically targeting some exercises. I know our group loves to do some portages, and Tyler, I want to see you out in the woods soon.
Where do I sign up?
I don't want to let you in the canoe. I want you swimming next to the canoe the whole time. Build some of that zone 2 swim power.
Hey, I like that. I like that. Just don't let me eat any of those weeds, or else I'll be choking. But that is great. I do agree with vacation. I find those ones too, like the most memorable runs is you explore the city, you kind of free, and you just go wherever you feel like it. You're a tourist, but in a different way, and it's pretty liberating to feel the effects of your fitness, and also you're visiting that new space or new city, and you really feel that vibe. It's pretty cool.
For sure. A memorable one for me was actually bringing my bike to Mark's bachelor party, which, of course, like bachelor party, generally you don't think, oh, I could do some nice fitness here as well. But it was in Lake Placid, so I decided to bring my bike and bag the Whiteface bike ride. It was amazing. It was storming at the top, so memorable, so fun. And even some of the guys who were at the bachelor party joined me. And I think it was a fun time for all of us.
I think that's a bachelor party for the Bim Boys in itself. I think we should be doing some climbing in Lake Placid. I think that would be an amazing bachelor party.
The bachelor party to join the BIM squad. That is what you got to do.
So another great motivator, which I sort of mentioned a little bit at the top of the episode when I was talking about how I got into running longer, which was just going out for short runs, but making them really, really consistent. For me is like a just 5 minutes kind of rule where you start a workout with the idea that you're just going to do a short time, and you'll notice more often than not you're capable of going further, and you just sort of keep going longer and longer. But if you're really struggling to get out that door, just saying, well, I'm only going to go out for 5 minutes, once you're out the door, then generally you can actually go for longer. So just tricking yourself into saying, I'm just going to go out for a short time and seeing how the body feels and adjusting accordingly is a great way to sort of build consistency, get out the door every day, and start to go longer.
Yeah, and this can be used for even kind of those auxiliary activities that help support your endurance activities. I know for me, I'm very consistent with my running, but an area that I don't love doing as much is kind of strength training, mobility, and all of that. And having history of getting shin splints, it is super important, and it's definitely a weak point of mine. So for this training block, I've really just made a point of a little bit of exercises in every day, nothing crazy. I'm doing like 5, maybe 10 minutes at most in of just heel raises, some band work, rolling, stuff like that, where I come home and I do it right away or sometimes right before bed. And it just small little sections of it, but I'm consistent with it. And that's a lot more important than just trying to do like a big 45-minute session and then being like, I hate this, I'm going to go run again. So just be consistent.
That's true, and that tricks you into doing it more often as well. Like even this weekend, I was like, oh, you know what? I had a long run, and then I'm like, you know what? Just spin the legs out. I'll be 10 minutes on the bike. Spin the legs out. Then I ended up doing just a bit of stretching, mobility work, and it helped out. And otherwise, I would just be like, if I told myself like I'm gonna set out half an hour to do this, I probably wouldn't have done it. So just it'll be just a few more minutes kind of thing, I think also helps you get that in.
Yeah, there was something circulating on social media, and I'm not actually too sure who coined the term, but it's exercise snacks, and that's just kind of what I do is those small sections of exercises. And what I would encourage everyone to do is like, what is that one thing that you want to improve and you're lacking on? Build an exercise snack around that, whether it be, running, biking, doing that core strengthening, whatever it is, build that and try to do that every single day and make sure it's nice and small, just like a snack, so that it doesn't fully fill you up, but you're still doing it every day.
I love exercises and I love snacks, so count me in.
Yeah, that's a great tip. I have some weights near the washroom, and sometimes I'll just walk by and bang out a few reps of some exercise because that's what I'm lacking and not doing as consistently as I should is some of the weight training. And so just fitting that in here and there wherever I can, it's really just hiding that workout because sometimes the best way to exercise is not really, set out this time to do it, but just, do it sporadically but consistently.
Weren't you telling me I saw it, you had a pull-up bar in front of your bathroom door, so you do a couple pull-ups before you go, and you on your way out, you got to do your pull-ups. That's how you pay the fee.
That's it. That was at my old place. At my new place, and let me just, for those people who aren't watching, there's actually a pull-up bar right on my current office door. So
You gotta
it
pay
does not change.
you gotta pay the dues before you get into the office, eh?
Exactly. Yeah. 3 pull-ups here and there is you end up doing a lot more than if you just ignore it altogether.
Very true. I also like one other thing I like to mention is I'm obsessed. Sometimes it's not good, but I am obsessed with rounding up my data. So I round up my weekly mileage or weekly volume time-wise on either Strava or Garmin. I'm just very obsessed with those graphs and checking the rounded times or miles per week that I do. I really like the visual as well of those graphs and seeing that dip in the graph or a very constant line going down as you're tapering is just so satisfying for me. So I really like to keep consistent with those overall numbers. I find sometimes you could break your head over it and get stressed out, but I think there's a good balance of the fun fun part of it all as well.
Yeah, you're totally right. Like streaks as well is a great motivator. Certainly with like closing your rings on the Apple Watch is something that you hear a lot about. So having a certain goal of exercise minutes, of stand hours, and of move like calories burnt, and hitting that every day, and then trying to build a streak of doing that for a week in total, a month in total, is something that like psychologists have just proven works. Like if you look at how Duolingo teaches you languages, it's all about that consistency and gamifying that streak and just motivating you to keep on with that streak. That's what really got me into endurance sports. So if a streak will is something that motivates you in other aspects of life, for sure it will motivate you in exercises too.
I got a fun one for you guys. What do you guys do if you're dreading a workout? Like, what are a little bit of a pre-workout ritual that you give yourself? Hey, I'm gonna go out the door and let's go.
Yeah, I have a good one. Normally, when I'm going out for a run, I'm either no headphones or a podcast or ebook is generally what I'm doing. But on those days where I'm just not feeling quite up to it or just lacking some motivation, I'll go into Spotify, find like a fun playlist, a little upbeat, and I'll listen to music and just change that up. And then sometimes you're just bouncing away to the beat and it can just be a lot of fun. You kind of forget about the workout.
You're bopping. I like it.
Yeah, the bops are great. It gives you good vibes to start the exercise and keeps you moving throughout the workout as well. For me, one thing that I love to do is have a little snack. If I'm not wanting to go out for a workout, having a little bit of sugar, so like a tablespoon of honey before a workout, is something that motivates me because it gets your brain a little bit happy, gives you a kick of dopamine, so that you're less kind of discouraged to go out the door and do a workout.
Very true. Very true. Mine, I got a couple go-tos when I'm not motivated to go on a workout. I kind of do what you were saying, Brian. I just trick myself into saying what you were saying earlier. Sorry, I trick myself into saying, "Hey, I'll just go out for 15 minutes, see how I feel," and then it ends up being, that your full workout that you were planning on doing. So just tricking yourself as saying, like looking at your watch, "Oh, I'll be back in 15 minutes, no big deal. I'll just keep going with my day. It won't be too tiring." But then you end up going for your half hour, your 45-minute run. Another thing, as you could tell, very fashionable. I pick my favorite hat or my favorite socks and I just put that on and I just swag out and go on my nice workout with a lot of my swag on.
It's true. Once you have the uniform on, the body knows it's ready to go. I think something else that's nice is like just telling somebody in your household or just like texting a friend, like, hey, I'm going out for a run. Because then you have that social pressure instantly of like, okay, now I'm kind of committed to doing it. So just articulating that you're going to go out for a run or a bike means you kind of have to.
Or it's the opposite. You tell them and they say, no, you can't go. And then you got to stay in. So that it could bite you. It could bite you. But no, that's usually a good way to like force yourself to go with that social pressure.
The nurse has you on rest and recovery. That's important too.
All right, I want to backpedal just a little bit, and I want to bring it back to Tyler being fashionable. And I'm wondering, do you maybe have another hot take for us this week, other than your fashion choices?
Oh, I have a hot take this week. It has to kind of do with the motivation, but it's putting a different spin to it. It is, if you really aren't feeling it and you are down in the dumps, you feel like crap and you don't feel like doing anything, don't be afraid to miss your workout. I know we're all gung ho on completing those workouts, getting those miles in, getting those top tier quality workouts in. But like I did this morning, miss your workout and you don't feel bad about it. At first, I would get real down on myself, oh, I missed a workout, this, that, make excuses, get stressed out about missing some workouts. But if your body's telling you no and you need that recovery, sometimes you just gotta listen. And it's not like you're not consistent. You're just missing a morning. Even I ended up working out like 2 hours later. So like I just missed the morning workout, not the afternoon workout. So you just gotta listening to your body and you'll be fine.
I love how like the most devastating thing is, oh, I missed a workout by 2 hours in Tyler's world.
Hot take, baby.
Miss your hour, go do it later.
Something I'm super guilty of, if there's a day and I miss a workout, I will try to stack workouts in next days, and then I'll have like, you know, threshold workout in the morning, and then I'll try to also sneak in like another 10 miles in the evening, and that's just a recipe for disaster. So yeah, definitely, if you need to pull the plug, it's okay. It won't be the end of the world.
Miss it, move on. That's what I realized. Like my main marathon block this spring, it was a bunch of those. Like, oh, 2-a-days. Oh, I missed one the other day. I got a double take this day, and you're all screwed up. You get stressed, pissed off. And I'm also embracing the taper, so that's also a big factor. Is like this morning I was supposed to go for an hour swim and then a long bike, and I just like didn't have it in me to swim. So I said, pull the plug on the swim, just do the bike. So
I think this might be a good transition. You're talking about your body tapering. We're a week out from Ironman Maryland. How is the body feeling? How's that taper treating you?
taper's rough, always rough. I was telling you the other week, the body was feeling great. I was coming off a double peak week. The legs, the body was feeling great. Now I'm getting tired. I'm feeling groggy, and the hips are starting to squeak a bit. I'm eating a lot. I'm feeling a little old, and it's devastating. I know it's just in my head, but it's feeling like a drag.
You're
I can't
talking to
wait to
me.
get on that start line.
You're talking to me like you are the Tin Man, and you just need a little bit of grease in those joints.
I need a little bit of grease.
Well, I'm sure you're going to smash it. You've put in so much hard work this training block. So I hope the wheels don't fall off and you're able to hit those times, hit those transitions properly. Don't forget, practice, putting on some wet socks or whatnot. Whatever you have to do to minimize that time in transition is where, there's going to be the most bang for your buck at this point.
Exactly. I'm gonna practice transitioning in the closet. That's for sure. I won't be doing. I won't be doing these outfits. I'm gonna be keeping it real simple. Keep it tight. Keep it simple.
That's awesome. And how about you, Andrew? The marathon is closer than it appears. You must be into some interesting parts of your training block.
Yeah, we're about 5 weeks out, and Tyler is not going to be the only BIM boy racing this weekend. I'm planning a tune-up race in Jordan, Run for the Grapes. It's looking like a nice race to try to practice some nutrition, get a little speedy, maybe use one of my race shoes. Maybe we'll see. I guess people will have to wait and see a nice pre-race picture. But yeah, it's a little hilly, but yeah, hoping to see how the legs feel.
And I
Exciting.
imagine you're doing the half marathon at the Run for the Grapes?
Yeah, half marathon this weekend. Yeah, the big boy.
That's gonna be speedy. I can't wait to see that.
So considering that elevation profile on the race, do you have any time targets in mind? Like, what is the goal other than just making sure the legs are feeling good and the nutrition's a little bit kind of hammered down for the marathon?
I think I'm hesitating a little bit because I don't want to be too aggressive. I would be happy if I could get in this 1:16:30s to 1:17s. I would be extremely happy if I could break 1:16. So that is the rough estimates, but we'll see how it is. We'll see how the
Wow.
legs are feeling.
Yeah, that's extremely fast. And what's your current PR in the half?
1:16 low, maybe 1:16:09 or something like that. And that was a hillier course, but I think I was more fit. I did have shin splints, but I think I was more fit. So I don't know. I don't know how that affects the equation, but we'll find out this weekend.
That'll be a game time decision. I'm excited to see that.
Yeah, I mean, it's not too far from my place, so maybe I'll be out there with a camera in the bushes recording you for some nice BIM content.
And some lizard eyes.
Oh, we'll
You
capture
bet.
the lizard eyes.
You best believe we're getting some coffee and baked goods at RPM afterwards.
All right, that's good, boys. We're gonna wrap it up here. Thanks for tuning into the episode of the Boys in Motion podcast.
And don't forget to follow us on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and join our Strava Club for more great content. Subscribe to our podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts so you never miss an episode.
Now, if you've listened to any episode before this, you've heard this already, but we're telling you again. We are not medical professionals. Any advice or tips that we shared here today are based on our own experiences and the research we do in our spare time. Always consult with a healthcare professional or provider before making any significant changes to your life or training.
And remember, keep moving, stay fly, stay motivated, and we'll see you next time on the Boys in Motion podcast.